Alright, welcome to Right on the Edge. My name is Derek, reacting to probably the last Asmondgold video of the day. It's time to tell the truth, Donald. Ain't that the truth? Alright, let's get in. Let's watch it.
It's a new day. Here we go.
The President of the United States is trying to cover the
Coffeezilla
Epstein story.
again.
It's the
Bro, this guy's the guy right here. He's the guy.
double down right here on Truth Social.
Jesus.
A big post
That's a
saying
twit
that actually
longer.
it's the Democrats
That's
who wrote
longer,
the
alright.
Epstein files. This is just after Elon Musk, who worked with Trump for many months, said that Donald Trump is in the Epstein files. That's the real reason they have not been made public. Obviously, we've already seen deflections from the president about Epstein, saying that it's a disgrace to talk about it.
Are you still talking about Jeffrey Epstein? It just seems like a desecration.
But today it goes a step further. Quick context. There's been a lot of infighting in the Republican Party over basically who's at fault for the giant botch of the Epstein file.
I'm gonna be real. I don't think there's any infighting at all. I think people are pretty unanimously against this. There's not a lot of infighting.
With the majority of Republicans not wanting to believe that Trump himself was against a full release, but rather that he was sort of tricked into not releasing the Epstein files by one of his lackeys. But today, Donald Trump came out and basically...
I don't see
I
how
don't think
that's
people
better.
think that.
Oh,
yeah,
no.
I don't think people believe
he's
it.
not bad. He's just retarded.
Oh.
Oh, good.
He backed
Well, that's
Pam
it.
Bondi,
Well, that's fine.
saying they're all going after Pam Bondi, who's doing a fantastic job all over a guy who never dies, Jeffrey Epstein. For years, it's Epstein over and over again. Why are we giving publicity to files written by Democrats who conned the world with the Russia hoax? They created the Epstein files just like they created the fake Hillary Clinton.
Why are we giving publicity? Well, focus on the we there. You've been the one saying this. You've been gassing this up forever. He talking about this 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Steele dossier.
Yeah,
now,
he's
this
the one that
is
started
such
this.
a smokescreen and a deflection. This
It's
is
not even a smoke screen. It's like one of those like really like fucking off-brand like scuffed smoke bombs that like barely works, and then like someone's like trying to run away from behind it, but you can like very clearly see it's just like them running away.
That's a good that's a good analogy. Timu smoke bomb.
It's not even a smoke screen. It's just nothing. It's transparent.
It's air.
It's a sparkler.
a left versus right issue. Epstein never has been. It's the people versus the predators, not left versus right. The people versus the pedophiles, the people
There you
versus
go.
the people on planes.
Say
There
it.
ain't
It's
no
crazy that people have actually tried to turn this into a partisan issue. This is not a partisan issue at all. It has nothing to do with partisan politics. Everybody, I think that this is it's ironic because actually, you know, Trump said he was going to, you know, try to like unite the country. I think he did.
Yeah.
Promises made, promises kept.
Yep.
Everybody is united against this.
left versus right here. In fact, some of the people who
Thank
want this
God.
the most are people on the right, even on Truth Social.
Of course.
Obviously, a hugely Trump-favored place. Everybody is saying, no, this is unacceptable. You have to release the files. Later in the post, Trump also says that these are radical left-inspired documents and to not waste time and energy on Jeffrey Epstein, somebody that nobody cares about. But actually, we all do care about it. You know who doesn't actually want this out?
Yeah, this is a great this is a unifying issue for sure. I don't know anyone besides pedo defenders who don't want this information released.
The elites. That's why they've...
Not that I know them personally, you know, just when I'm looking around, right? It's only those stupid map people that ever defend this and retards.
Never done it. That's why it was a compelling pitch when Donald Trump hinted to his base that maybe he was going to release the files. People largely didn't trust the job that Biden had done. That's why
he appointed people who explicitly said they would release the files.
Yep.
Like, let's not...
Yeah, they promised it. He appointed people that all promised that they were real and that they would be released.
Not pussyfoot around with this at all. He 100% gassed this up as much as he could.
Compelling stories. So the idea now that it would...
Don't you think Trump was on the list? Democrats would have used it during the election.
Yeah.
I've said this 50 times, so I don't want to repeat it. I think there's a third party that has the full unredacted list, and the reason why they're not using it on each other is because it would be mutually assured destruction. And if part of the list gets leaked and it is redacted, then that third party will...
It's the nuke, man. It's a nuke.
release the full list, and it will damage both of them. That's what I think is happening.
It was Biden and Obama who invented the Epstein files is absolutely preposterous. They don't want that out either. And maybe that's because, as a producer of 60 Minutes alleged, Ghislaine Maxwell implied that there were tapes on Trump and also tapes on Clinton. You know who else said it? Mark Epstein, Jeffrey Epstein's brother, saying Epstein said, "What I know about both candidates, the 2016 election would have to be canceled." So this whole idea—
That's crazy that all of these people know all of these names, but nobody actually gets named and no evidence actually manifests because of some abstraction of law that we like. If there's one thing that the Iraq War taught me, it's that every single law has an exception. You can't.
An exception for rich people, mainly, and people in power.
Can't torture people. Well, but
Peeper, I'm glad I'm not the only one with an impediment. Thanks for making me feel better.
Well, you can't go and just invade a country for but
maybe just one time.
Why is it that we have all of this Patriot Act stuff, and the one time that we need to use it for a good reason, it won't happen? I'm a little bit annoyed by that.
That this is a left or right thing. It's not. It's the elites. Anybody who was on that plane, anybody who was associated with Epstein, seen with Epstein, even if they did nothing wrong, they don't want that out. Everyone who wasn't seen with Epstein, wasn't on that plane, of course they all want the files. And what's interesting is
regular people that aren't pedophiles want the files released because it's disgusting.
Obviously, the Trump administration has sort of played footsie with this idea for a long time.
They haven't played footsie with it, bro. This was their shoes. They were running on this idea. Literally. This was something that they put out there.
Base, they know this is a big issue.
Yep. Phase 1 right there.
They had the influencers stand out there with a bunch of released material, but we also showed clips of Donald Trump implying that maybe Bill Clinton and Prince Andrew were doing bad things on the island.
Bill Clinton.
Got a lot of problems coming up, in my opinion, with the famous island. That island was...
We need to get an apology to old Bill Clinton. Donald Trump dragging his name through the mud over nothing. Making up some bullshit about how Bill Clinton, our president, who had a surplus of the budget. How could somebody say that about innocent Bill Clinton?
Yep, there's no evidence, so why'd you say it?
What the fuck, man?
Supposedly.
His pure name has now been sullied. Exactly. This is outrageous. He owes Bill Clinton an apology.
The sax player.
Really a cesspool. There's no question about it. Just ask Prince Andrew.
So consistently, Trump has hinted that maybe these guys were involved with Epstein. Maybe it was bad. But turns out all these guys knew each other and knew Epstein. We know this in part from a Piers Morgan.
Oh, wow.
Crazy. Who would have guessed that?
How fucking convenient.
An interview where he talks to a lady who went to a dinner party with Trump, Clinton, Epstein, and Prince Andrew.
Extraordinary. Well, wait a minute. So can't they just find that out? I mean, there's got to be itinerary for this. Why?
It's like the boys are back in town. Like that song, bro. That's what that sounds like. It's crazy.
Why is there never any? Like, I feel like if you're even if you're a retard, you could figure this out. When was this? Where was this? Where was the restaurant? Who was there? Is there a guest book? When would it happen? Does the group have a guest book? Does anybody remember there? Who did you have on staff that day? You can find all of these things out. But isn't it weird that...
Well, that would require investigative journalism, and that doesn't happen anymore. It's crazy. You'd have to actually work.
None of these things are being investigated at all. Nothing's happening. That's so crazy.
Well, not nothing is happening. A lot of nothing is happening. If you know what I mean, you know? A bunch of nothing is happening. So much nothing is not happening that nothing is happening.
Collection of very high-powered people. How did they all interact with Epstein? How did Trump, Clinton, and Prince Andrew...
Here's how they reacted. Hey! What you doing?
interact with him?
Everyone was very, very pally with him.
Wow.
You know, it was like there was close bonds. You could see that.
So these guys
Close
knew each
bonds.
other, apparently
Little
had
frat
dinner
brothers.
parties together, all of them together.
Dinner.
Trump later accuses two of the guys of doing bad things, and then when we release the file...
So let me guess. You're at a table, and one guy is convicted as like a fucking creep. The other two guys you say are creeps, but guys, no, I didn't know it. Look, bro, like that shit was. I didn't know any of this. Wow.
It's like, really?
Wow, bro, like that. No, I didn't do that.
Yeah.
Can we release the files? Well, no, actually, no, we can't do that. Nobody cares about that. The reason why seems obvious. Epstein knew Prince Andrew. Yes. He knew Bill Clinton. Yes. But he also knew Donald Trump. And recently, tapes were released of Epstein talking and calling Donald Trump his closest friend.
So how do you know this?
So it makes intuitive sense to distance yourself from files that may or may not have your name in it, and even distance yourself from the people involved. It's worth stating Trump actually denied knowing Prince Andrew.
So Epstein's files are a smoking gun because they don't want people to pay attention to Diddy's trial or Diddy's files. I'm sorry to say, but I don't really give a fuck what a bunch of like weird, creepy, like pedo actors in Hollywood do compared to heads of state and people that run worldwide military.
Yeah, it's like they matter. Obviously, right? The goal should be to get all the pedophiles, but comparing a Hollywood actor who really is just like a talking head that doesn't matter to like anybody in political office, it's a big difference. That's wild.
Like that's comparing a mountain to a molehill.
I would argue it's even I would argue it's even worse than that, man. It's like comparing those like tiny little black ants to like, I don't know, a Tyrannosaurus Rex or something. It's a lot. That's a lot going on there.
Like, yeah, you're right. The Diddy stuff is really bad.
The Diddy stuff is bad. However, it's worse that he hasn't been convicted on the stuff that he should have been. I don't understand how you can have so much drugs coming to you and not face more crime. Like, how can you not be punished more than that? You know, I see. There's people that do way tamer, not as bad things that get punished harsher. Yeah, honestly, Diddy's lawyer deserves twice what he got. Let's put it that way. Diddy's lawyer deserves twice the money he was paid. Diddy got him at a discount.
But this is like the elite
or that team. Diddy got that team at a discount. It's crazy that he got off on any of that.
Version of that.
I don't know Prince Andrew.
Of course, this was immediately debunked by photos
I don't know Prince Andrew. Immediately there's a photo of him shaking hands. That's crazy.
Showing the two together. And of
Why
course,
would you say this?
Like, there he is again. Dang, never met the guy in my life. Prince Andrew has one of those, like, crazy person stare smiles. It's like, that's a lot. There's a lot going on.
showing that they clearly knew each other as of 2000. Now, the reason you would deny knowing Prince Andrew, even though you did, is obvious. At the time, he was facing allegations related to Epstein.
He doesn't know him.
By the way, allegations
no
that now
idea.
are basically over. Prince Andrew is very happy about us dropping the Epstein probe. A source for The Sun said he's only been abroad once since the scandal erupted. Prince Andrew has always been very nervous about going abroad and always looking over his shoulder, as he should be, in my opinion. But now he's very happy because the guy who never met him but was photographed with him in 2000 just ended the investigation.
Yep, nothing suspicious going on here.
I have to say, Trump's been pretty consistent on the fact he has no interest in releasing the Epstein files in full. He said this multiple times. The reason most people have sort of a false memory of this, the reason it's sort of a Mandela effect that he campaigned on the idea of releasing the Epstein files is because Fox News released a deceptively edited clip.
I don't think that's the reason. I see what he's saying, but I disagree with it. I think the reason why is because he filled his cabinet with people that explicitly said that they would release it entirely.
I completely agree with this. Yeah, he filled his cabinet with people that essentially all said that they wanted to release the Epstein files, and that was like part of like how they got appointed. I think it's inarguable that that's the case.
And I think that the people that you run with, as I'm saying,
the people that you appoint in your cabinet matter just as much, if not more, than the presidential choice itself. Yeah, because they're the people that you're going to be delegating to work to for different departments that matter and affect everyday citizens' lives. Like the president is kind of like the captain of a ship. You know, he's giving orders, steering the boat. You know, that's what he's doing. It's all the workers though that are doing every day-to-day things that affect us more at a state level.
This person is going to be my cabinet member for X, Y, or Z thing, and really it's X, Y, and Z thing in this circumstance. Like Dan Bongino, Kash Patel, Pam Bondi, all three of them, and Elon Musk. Like all of these people, even if he didn't explicitly say it, every single other person that was on his team that he was co-signing their statements and then sponsoring them to be part of his leadership team all said it.
Yep. Yeah. And I think they should be held to account for it. You know, the very most charitable interpretation I can see is that they were making shit up and they didn't have as much evidence as they said they did. And that's not very charitable. You know, that's awful. Like, so they're either incompetent or they're lying.
Where they cut out the part where
even J.D. Vance in that interview with Theo Vaughn said release the list.
I like J.D. Vance a lot. I suspect he wants the list released. I highly suspect he does. And him and Trump don't always see eye to eye, which is actually really good in a vice president to have somebody that isn't a, a sycophant. It's really good not to have that. However, it does no good if you still don't listen to the guy that you have to be the second in command. And, you know, like, come on. Let's not fight. Like, release the damn list. That's all I'm trying to say. Release the list.
Even he said it. That's the vice president.
Said, yeah, I'll probably release the Epstein files. And they cut out the part where then he backtracks on that completely.
Would you declassify the Epstein files?
Yeah, I would.
And that's the part most of us saw. Of course, later, people found out that the full clip showed him saying basically the opposite.
I guess I would. I think that less so because, you know, you don't know. You don't want to affect people's lives if it's phony stuff in there because there's a lot of phony stuff with that whole world.
We also have Bill
I could agree that people would be negatively impacted, but I think you could release it in such a way. So even if you don't have the evidence of who did what, you could release all the names that aren't victims in there and just say, we have no idea who was part of it and who wasn't part of it, rather than drawing it all out. Because there are probably people that knew Epstein, because everybody knew him. Like, you know, he was like a billionaire mogul in fucking New York. Like all these rich people knew him, right? They probably have like every rich person who even lived or visited New York knew that guy. So, you know, it's not, why fucking hide it? You know, why fucking hide it?
Riley.
That answer isn't even a bad answer. It's only a bad answer when you contextualize it with nothing got released, period.
Yeah, exactly.
Period. Of course you don't want to put out a bunch of fake stuff that negatively affects people. Like, obviously, sure. Like, I mean, that's a reasonable, prudent thing to say. But the problem is the way that it was looked at, right? It's a terrible answer now. In retrospect, it's very bad.
on News Nation saying he just talked to Trump back on St. Patrick's Day, and Trump basically said the same thing?
He said, and I agree, there are a lot of names associated with Epstein that had nothing to do with Epstein's conduct. They maybe had lunch with him or maybe had some correspondence for one thing or another. If that name gets out, those people are destroyed because there's not going to be any context. Media doesn't care about
Too bad. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna agree. Too bad. I think having the people that perpetrated these crimes outed outweighs the amount of damage done, because it just outweighs it, right? And you have to prove a case, so the people that are going to have charges filed against them, the burden of proof is on the government.
That sucks. Also, by the way, this is immediately disproven by Donald Trump. Donald Trump won the presidency, and Jeffrey Epstein said Donald Trump was his best friend. So it's not even true to begin with. It's bullshit.
context. So you can't do that.
So over and over, we've seen the same answer from the president. Not the fact that, oh, no, the Epstein files, it's a lefty conspiracy. No, actually, it's the worry that people in the files are going to have their lives destroyed by the files. That sounds a lot more like covering for the people in the files than it does covering the victims. We've heard Cash.
That's a very, actually, that's a really good.
Gotta think of that. I know. It's like, this is one of those things where it works both ways. Yeah, it makes sense both ways. And I probably lean toward CoffeeZilla's interpretation overall. Yeah.
Point. I never thought about it from that perspective, but I think when you think.
Exactly. Yeah, I was caught off guard there. That's why I like watching people's like videos and stuff like that, because it's good to think from a perspective outside of the one that you find yourself in. And that outside perspective can shed light and help you grow.
Think about it that way? Yeah, he's totally right about that. Yeah, he's absolutely like, yeah, he's going in and he's covering for them particularly. Exactly.
Patel and Pam Bondi talk about, we got to protect the victims.
Go through it very cautiously to protect all the victims.
We're not going to re-victimize women.
The thing is, why don't you don't have to release the victims' names. Just release everyone else's. Right? That should be doable.
We're not going to put that back out there.
But when we actually hear the president talk about it, and the real reason, right, because he's ultimately the decision maker on whether this gets released, what the real reason is cited is not about victims.
And also, this is another thing, is that nobody can really, Pam Bondi, I think, is a retard for other reasons. But nobody, Trump is the one making.
What was this? Oh. Okay, well, let me know if you need any help. And I also agree about Pam Bondi being kind of a retard. Yeah.
Making these calls. She's not making the calls. He says jump. She says how high. It's not her. It's him.
It's about the people, the names in the thing. So I find it disgusting. They're using the victims of Epstein as a shield for the people who are actually in.
Yeah, and I find that disgusting as well. I hate it when people stand on the bodies of victims to make their point, or they use other people's victimhoods as their own leverage to get away with shit. It's weaponizing, weaponizing empathy, and it's also manipulation, man.
These files. Now, of course, who specifically is he worried about? Well, maybe it's his friends, maybe it's people he has dinner parties with, and of course, maybe it's him, Donald Trump, that he's worried about. The journalist Michael Wolff actually quotes Steve Bannon as saying Jeffrey Epstein was really feared in 2016 for what he knew.
I was there, and it was that.
I think this is inarguable. There were a lot of people worried when he got put in jail, and a lot of people, even in Hollywood, were saying stuff around that time well, haha, man, shit's gonna be released.
That moment, and Bannon said to Epstein, and he said this in a good humor. He said, during the campaign, it would be the 2016 campaign, you, meaning Jeffrey Epstein, were the only person I was afraid of.
So that is 3 independent sources. You've got the
Why would Steve Bannon say that? Why would he say that?
I wonder. Very suspicious,
Isn't that
right?
weird? What's going on about
Very,
that?
a Rosen quote, the Michael Wolff quote, and that Mark Epstein quote, all saying that there is some type of damaging information on Trump. 2 of those people specifically implying that it's also on Clinton as well. You also have the Elon Musk allegation from left.
I think that if Trump is implicated, Bill Clinton is probably also implicated. I would say the probability of that's like 80-90%. That's a pretty high probability situation there. You know what I mean?
would think so.
Pretty high one. Yeah, definitely. And Hillary? Right. Yeah, and why didn't she ever get put in jail? This is what always made me mad about Trump whenever he was first president. You said you were going to put Hillary Clinton in jail, and you didn't put her in jail. Why didn't you do that? What the fuck? What happened to lock her up? Or make a wall? Well, he made part of the wall, at least, right? Hillary didn't get anything.
Field, but he doesn't source anybody, so we won't count that. Either way, I must say, I don't know for sure if Bill Clinton, Prince Andrew, Donald Trump were heavily involved in anything nefarious or not. That is exactly why we should all...
Well, one thing we do know for sure is that they were all heavily involved
with each other at one point, right? Whether that was business or maybe they're actually friends or acquaintances. And I won't even hold that against them, right? That doesn't prove really anything. Like, I've hung out with people that ended up being bad people, and at the time I just didn't know it, right? It all matters what happens next. However, when you do that and then you're not releasing files that might implicate said friends, etc., you know, that's when it gets different. It sits different.
with Jeffrey Epstein. That's one thing that we do know. So that's, I mean, it's really...
And that's all you need to know, really. You know, that's it.
Really close.
Demand that we open these files. But the possibility of both Democrats and Republicans being implicated in some of these files, whether they did it or not, or just knew him, may give a plausible reason for why the Epstein files have been heavily redacted this whole time. There are very powerful people involved. We've known that. The reason we've been given, of course, is that, you know, we've got to protect the victims. The real reason behind this
bullshit. Bull motherfucking shit.
Scenes is really they're protecting the powerful people. Now, the most charitable interpretation is
they don't want to have people get their lives destroyed, but I don't understand the logic here, because Bill Clinton and Donald Trump both were implicated with Epstein, and neither of them had their lives destroyed. Elon Musk had photos with Ghislaine Maxwell, and he didn't have his lives destroyed for that. There's plenty of people that had involved themselves or interacted with Jeffrey Epstein before, and it's not like they just had their life destroyed just by a connection with him. So that's it. So
yeah, I mean, and the thing is, they should. Yeah, if they're guilty, they should. You know.
Well, I don't even understand. I don't even understand this type of thinking. It's not even real.
For me, man, it all goes back to the money, right? Why was Epstein getting paid millions of dollars? Oops. Why was he getting paid millions of dollars for services he wasn't even a professional, like he wasn't even like a professional at, right? He was like a real estate mogul billionaire in New York, but he was being paid hundreds of millions of dollars for tax help. And what makes that suspicious in the tax help itself is the fact that the people that are paying him were so rich that they could have afforded like entire companies to work for them to figure out their tax shit, right? You don't give someone $100 million who's not a tax professional when you could hire Goldman Sachs or something like that, you know. Insert tax company here that's big and famous in New York. I don't know. I don't live in New York. But you know what I'm saying. It's just... It doesn't make logical sense what they're saying, and it never has.
Bill O'Reilly said it's because those people would have their lives ruined. They had nothing to do with Epstein, but we know some of them probably did. We know this from the Miami Herald.
They had nothing to do with Epstein, but maybe they did. Just one day. Yeah, just one fucking day. Woo!
Because the FBI agents who searched Epstein's house found a cache of thick black binders all labeled with names that contained hundreds of naked or semi-naked photographs on CDs that Epstein stored in.
And most of those went missing. Like, in FBI custody, they just magically went missing. They just disappeared. I was like, wow, crazy. Damn, all the evidence. Where'd the evidence go? What evidence? Fucking stupid.
Various places. The labels on the binders were redacted from photos because prosecutors said they were names of third parties who were not relevant to the case they were mounting against Ghislaine Maxwell.
How are they not relevant? They should be completely relevant. You should relevantise those. That's not even a word, but you should do it. That's what I'm saying. You should fucking do it. Like, why are we even?
This is, in
God,
my
this makes me so mad.
This is
I'm so heated on this.
This is so obvious what's going on here. Binders, there's terabytes of data. Yeah.
Exactly. It's so obvious what's going on. It's infuriating.
I have never seen any, like, honestly, this makes me really disappointed because I think these guys.
Disappointed, sad, angry. Like, it's outrageous. It's unjust. It's unjust. Like, every fucking person connected to this that is guilty, even in the smallest way, should all be arrested. Like, it's fucking crazy. Like, the pilots, the fucking boat driver, anyone that might have even possibly known should be under investigation. It's deep breaths.
Guys would know how to hide it better than this. What a bunch of fucking retards.
Thanks for saying that too. Yeah, that's a good way to look at it too. And it's also, yeah, it's disappointing too because you're representing our government in a lot of cases and you can't even hide it better than this. Like, you're an idiot. And what would, like, fucking files like on a shelf? Like, what is this? The fucking 70s? Goddamn.
Are you kidding me? You've got it in binders in your apartment? What are you, fucking retarded? Why would you do that? Arrogance? Yeah, exactly.
Arrogance is good. I was like, at least a safety deposit box or something, right? So, like, some level of fucking shielding for real.
How many of you guys know a friend that deals drugs maybe or that does something like that, and eventually, he used to use burners, he used to use other accounts, he used to trade in crypto, but then eventually he did it for long enough and he got confident enough, and then he just started giving people his actual fucking phone number. Yep, and then you get got, and then you have to take a vacation. They get lazy. Yep. Every time. Embarrassing.
So my question is, are those some of the third parties? Their names are on binders with a bunch of explicit photographs that Epstein was storing? That seems like something we should be investigating. Or what about the fact that since the FBI is saying there's no blackmail involved with Jeffrey Epstein, we investigate the Wall Street Journal report that Jeffrey Epstein allegedly tried to extort Bill Gates over an extramarital affair? Because I thought there was no...
Whoa. Wait a minute. Convicted sexual offender reportedly threatened to expose Gates' relationship with Russian bridge player. That's crazy. Wow.
Yep. I used to look up to that guy. And then when it was revealed what a disgusting human he was, I had to find a better role model. Warren Buffett, bro, I hope you never, ever come out as a secret creepy sex predator. I hope you die being the only upstanding billionaire that there is. You're just a nice old dude. Started in Nebraska. Like, come on. Keep me in here. Keep me in reality.
Wow. Tried to extort Bill Gates over an extramarital affair because I thought there was no blackmail involved. And my real plea to people is to not allow comments like this, these statements about partisan politics, to trick you into thinking this is some type of left versus right issue. That
it is partisan politics. It's the left-wing elites and the right-wing elites against the people. It's simple. Usually you don't see this happen, but in this case, that's what it is.
is the Trump play right now. I don't think it's going to work. I think it's a disaster. I think it's very stupid. I think people on the right are just as interested as people on the left. I think this
is a person in the center right who was shoved over to the right and was once a liberal. I'm very interested. Like, I don't care who's in there. If Trump's in there, kick him in the nuts, shoot him in the head, right? Like, if he's guilty. Obviously, if he's guilty, calm down, FBI. I'm not really asking for this. If he's guilty, he should be charged. This is metaphorical. He should be charged to the fullest extent of the law. J.D. Vance should be president. And I think that's... And they should be thrown away in a cell where they never see light of day ever again. Anyone that's guilty of doing that to minors in a way where there's no possible way it was like extortion or trickery. Yeah. It's... But man, this shit gets me heated, man. It's so crazy.
It makes me feel stupid personally for like covering, because like there's been a lot of other things that Trump has done, like for example deporting people, like the raids, the fucking getting rid of DEI and everything else, right? Like I've been really supportive of a lot of things Trump has done, but I feel stupid even covering it right now because of just how much of an elephant in the room this is. You know what I mean? Is that weird for me to say? You suck one. Yeah, but it's a really, really big dick. It's pretty much the biggest one. Can't defend that? Yeah.
If you build one bridge, you're not a bridge builder, right? People don't think of you as a bridge builder, but if you suck one dick, you're always a dick sucker. That's the full saying, in case you know. In case you don't know. But now you do.
Universal issue, as it should be. If there are predators in the highest offices in the land, be they Democrat or Republican, we want to know about it.
Yeah,
that's right.
Not only do we
not
only do we want to know, we want justice. I think I can speak for most people in saying we want justice. It's absolutely crazy. Gonna give this a like. Man, it's just infuriating. It's so infuriating. But that's it for me, man. If you like this, if you like reacting to stuff, or if you have suggestions, you know, leave a comment below. Let me know. And yeah, subscribe, dude. I'm hoping to get to 1,000 subscribers someday. And yeah, hopefully before a year, you know, after a year, who knows what will happen to me. But that's why I'm right on the edge. All right. Have a good day.